How's it going, everyone? Vandrin here with another episode of Daily Spell, where every day we highlight one spell from 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, go over the basic information of the spell, discuss my thoughts on its usefulness in certain scenarios, and close things out with a brief narrative description of the spell taking place. Today's spell is Antilife Shell. Antilife Spell is a 5th level abjuration spell with a casting time of 1 action and a range of self, with a 10-foot radius. Antilife Shell has both a verbal and somatic component, if your DM requires them, meaning that there will be words and motions needed to cast the spell. The duration of Antilife Shell is up to 1 hour. It is important to note that Antilife Shell is a concentration spell, meaning that if you suffer any damage, you will need to succeed on a concentration roll to determine if the effects of the spell remain in place. Also, if you choose to cast another concentration-based spell, the effects of Antilife Shell will immediately vanish. The description of Antilife Shell via the Player's Handbook on page 213 is as follows. A shimmering barrier extends out from you in a 10-foot radius and moves along with you, remaining centered on you and hedging out creatures other than undead and constructs. The barrier lasts for the duration. The barrier prevents an affected creature from passing or reaching through. An affected creature can cast spells or make attacks with ranged or reach weapons through the barrier. If you move so that an affected creature is forced to pass through the barrier, the spell ends. This description can be a little confusing overall, but the way I would interpret it and allow it to function at my own table is that the spell prevents anything that has a life force from entering the space. If a being is an undead or construct, then it has no actual life force, simply the appearance of such, and would be unaffected. The barrier does not prevent ranged or spell attacks from hitting the caster. It only prevents other living beings from coming physically closer. If you move towards a living creature on your turn, the spell dissipates as it is described to only prevent the other creature from coming towards you on its own turn. This is of course my own interpretation of how the spell reads, so if you get a different idea, feel free to share it in the comments below, and consult your own dungeon master on their thoughts prior to utilizing the spell in your games. Overall, I do think that Antilife Shell can still be useful. For instance, if you are faced with a group of blade-wielding enemies, you can cast Antilife Shell to keep them just out of range while you then fire off damage spells against them to thin their ranks. Antilife Shell could also be used to keep a mind-controlled companion from lashing out at you with their melee weapon by keeping them further away from you than their melee range. As the band of mercenaries slowly circles around you, their swords drawn, you spin in a tight circle, swirling your hands around yourself while you speak the words of the spell. A shimmering wall of magic forms all around you, keeping the enemies at bay for now. You send out firebolt after firebolt, attempting to deter the mercenaries, hoping your friends will see the light of the flames from their camp in the distance and rally to your side. Thank you for watching. Please comment below what your own thoughts are on Antilife Shell, and feel free to share stories from games you've played in where it's been used. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Come back and join me tomorrow as we discuss yet another Daily Spell.